free. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Okay, I'm recording now. Excellent. So I have to promise not to swear, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll try my best at this. I haven't done a training for some time. I usually have other people doing it, but Kevin asked if I would do it, and I said certainly. So I'm looking forward to doing it, but hopefully I don't mess up too much because I'm out of practice. And obviously through this, just ask questions. You know how it is. Just shoot them out. Yep. That's the way to do it. Okay, so I'm in your CRM environment right now. I'm going to switch. So I'm going to pop on over to the LX environment. So let's do the burger bar, and we'll go and hunt down the LX environment. There it is. And we'll go into the membership reports. And we've made some changes to this data set now. We've added a lot more to it. Okay. So it does take a little bit to load up at the beginning. The whole purpose of LX is that we generate the data set for you. We do all that boring stuff where we do all the joins and the connections, and we try and connect as many tables as we feel is needed for this particular module. And also do your custom fields and lookups for you.
Gotcha. So now, Matt, is it true that we don't have rights to this information? Because when I went into it, now maybe you changed it, but when I went into it last time, I was not able to see anything.
You can see everything now.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, everything is not limited anymore. You have every single field there is.
Okay.
Search.
Maybe it was just
the search will come in handy.
Yeah.
The search will come in handy for that because there's so much information that you have now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was easier for me to let it all in than to hide it because everybody wanted to see it all. So might as well make my life easy as well.
Awesome.
Also, we've included a lot of meetings information in the membership and vice versa. So when you go into meetings, you'll see the exact same kind of data set here. So you can cross-contaminate reports with more data. So that was the other thing that we did. Okay, so I thought what we'll do is I'll kind of put something together, start building and showing you what we have. And what we have on the left here is your kind of navigation report menu. Any reports that you build and save, and that's important, you must save, will show up down the side here. And these will be all your membership reports. Also, I should go back here and say that each of the modules have their own security settings. Gotcha. So you can decide who can see the reports and also who can edit the reports in each module. So you could have, say, the director of meetings have obviously full access to the meetings report, view and edit, but only have view access to the membership reports. And you can also have so that the meetings department have view and edit report edits rights to the meetings report, but do not see the membership reports at all. To them, it doesn't even exist. So that's something that you can do. And by doing that, you just submit a case and we will take care of your security for you. Just tell us who needs access to what. And you can have as many people accessing it. There is no limit on who can and cannot access these reports. You can have the whole company access them if you wish. There's no license fee or anything to that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Great. Awesome. So here I'm just going to load up the membership reports. And what we have here is pretty much everything below this kind of invisible line, this white line here, is all kind of the Power BI environment. So what you get in the Power BI environment is exactly what we give you here. In fact, Microsoft liked our idea of the reports and they've now added it into theirs piece. So that's quite an interesting it was kind of nice to see that there's that they like some of the design work that we did. So here we have the list of all the reports that you save. We can obviously minimize that, make your screen bigger. You also have this white box is kind of your workspace, and think of it like a workspace, like you would do in Excel, where you have your tabs along the bottom here. You can just about see where you got page 1 and a plus sign to add another page, just like you do in Excel.
Right.
Along the top, we have our menu bar. So here we have more importantly, file save and save as. Now, because we're in the template, we can only do save as. We can't save over the template for reasons that I'm sure make sense.
Yes.
The view is kind of cool. We have this fit to page, fit to width, actual size. You've seen these before, but why would we have that in this box? It seems kind of logical that really this is all you're going to see, but that's not the case, and I'll come to that in a little while. You can do your smart grids. You can show your grid lines, to make it easier for dropping things in and out, just like you do in Excel and some others. You can snap to grid is awesome, so I'll just turn that on because I like that. You can lock your objects in. There's a selection pane here, which will probably go into. I've got some videos to show that I'm going to link to you that will show you more about that. And then we have some other cool features along here that we will get through to, especially the visualization interaction. This is a very important button that you will get to use. So before we go any further, I'm just going to go and hit save as. And I'm going to create a report. We're going to call this, let's just call this the membership demo. And hit save. Now you'll see that it hasn't shown up down the side of here. Now that's the one problem that we do have, is that it doesn't actually show the list down the side until we hit the refresh button.
Okay.
Yeah, we wish we could get around that, but the API just won't let us do that. But if you do hit delete, it will disappear straight away. So I guess that's a good thing.
It's not very forgiving.
No, no, it's not. Oh my goodness. Let me just make sure I refresh that. Sorry. Yeah, it's just refreshing. I like that. So while it's refreshing, down the side here, we also have the visualization, the fields, and a filter toolbar down here. And let's just wait. Let's see if I confused it by hitting it too many times, as you do with Chrome and others. We're going to go from, there we go. Of course, just when I was just about to get into it, it refreshed itself.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to click on membership demo, and here, let's get rid of this yellow bar. You'll see that you've got the 3 dots. I see the 3 dots because I'm an admin. I have edit rights. So I get these extra pieces where I can delete the report, I can edit the report or preview the report. It's already defaulted to the preview. So let's hit edit. And now we get the view that no one else gets unless you have the edit rights. On the right side here, this toolbar, let's make these small so we don't get confused. So as we saw earlier, these are all your tables that you have. So each one of these reflects back to, I believe, it's a CRM page. So you have the contacts. So in the contacts page, you'll see all the fields that we have in there. Now, what we also have done with this new data set is that we've actually were able to rename everything to what you call your fields. So we have the display name showing instead of the table name. Because the table name didn't really make much sense. So where we were able to run the script to rename everything, we've been able to rename it If it has CBI or PA, then that means it just doesn't have a link inside to the display port. There's not much we can do. And usually it's because that is ends up being the actual display name. Okay. And we also have the lookup fields connected as well. So instead of like gender 1 being male and 0 being female, or vice versa, or whichever numeric, in that size, male and female. So everything's all be there. So that's what this field down here. These are what these tables are. And also, you know, they are all linked together, but sometimes you won't be able to do a connection in an easy manner, because if we wanted to say you put a contact name in, so you put like Matt Dickens down here, and then you say, oh, I want to join him up with the location of an event, it's not going to do that. That's an impossible connection. It's going to say
correct.
It's just going to do a question mark and go, I don't know. Right. So you have to do a little bit more diving in, but you know, do a logical path. But everything is connected.
Gotcha.
The visualization is.
Can I ask you a question, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
So what about if we wanted to add more tables over here?
Mm-hmm.
How does that process work? Would we have to come to you and then you'd have to add in for us, or is there a way that we can add more tables over here on our own, or how does that work?
So yes, you have to come to us to add more tables to it, because the whole data set then changes. Obviously, if you drop a table in, you still have to do all the connections like you do in SQL, and decide which primary key to connect with, and also put in any rules. And then on top of that, you have to run the lookup scripts that we built ourselves, and also the display name script. So there's about 130 lines of code that goes into each table to make it pull up all the lookup fields, give it the correct names, and to connect it correctly. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not a way of just connecting it in. Now we have tried to include all the most common tables that everyone's using. If there's unique tables that you want to use just for yourself, then it would be kind of like a custom data set that we can build, and for that we can do that for you. But usually what I would do in those scenarios would be just to have us build the report for you, and we would then include in that the building of the data set and all the custom measures that you would need, and you'll probably get a lot more for your buck by doing that, by having us do all the hard work and do everything for you.
Yeah, but see, the reports are not just a one-off in terms of needs,
right?
Because what we're finding is that we constantly have to run reports for different criterias, you know, and it all. We have this new membership marketing person who is also joining us on this call a little later on. But she and our membership director are working very closely together with me, and we're trying to identify a lot of things upfront from a member conversion, you know, standpoint. And so all the information that typically, like this used to be the case, you know, all the tables that you have here are the tables that we used to, you know, until a year ago, these were the tables that we were querying off of, you know, because these were just our members and participation and all of those things. But now Click Dimensions is playing a huge role in our decision making, because we have campaigns that have become a very key, key touching point, that includes marketing lists that contacts are on, that includes, you know, email sends that the contacts receive, and then automation. From an automation standpoint, we've tried to, you know, if they are an engaged customer, you know, meaning more than 3 clicks in this category. So like those kinds of things are very, you know, helpful, like in this viewpoint. Because what I would have to do, Matt, in absence of this kind of tool, is I'd have to run these queries in SRS. Okay. And we've done, and Nico's helped too. I mean, we've done these things for them where but it's a little involved. We have to do marketing list filters, and then we have to on the campaign we have to find out all the email sends that are associated with that campaign, so that we know that these are the engaged contacts in their mind. So those kinds of things. So from a table standpoint, I would say, marketing lists, I would say email sends. So like sent email is something that's related directly to a contact. Then email events, which is, the clicks and the delivers and all of that. So like those three tables right off the bat, I would like to include in this data set that you've built for us. But we can talk about those.
Well, it's very easy. Just do me a favor. Just email Kevin and ask him, when will I be getting the marketing data set? I didn't tell you to email him. You're just going to do it. You just somehow came up with the idea to email Kevin. Just email him and say, when am I going to have the marketing data set? Just say something like, I saw it in a webinar that did some time ago, and I was wondering if it's out.
Okay.
There's some politics behind it. That's what I'm saying. Just email him.
Right. Thank you so much. We'll cut through the politics.
Yeah, bypass all that. Just email Kevin and say, will I be able to get that? Because then I'll expect the call from him, and I'll be like, okay, great. Because we did, between you and I and Bishwal, we did build one.
Okay, that's excellent.
And it did work, but it was very slow. But we have updated our infrastructure to handle something like that. So there might be a case of where we can bring it back for you. But best thing to do is just go to Kevin, because it looks like, I think you've got more power over him than I do, because you have me doing the training. so I already know that he loves you. So
yeah, all right. Yeah,
best thing to do that, because that's got a lot of marketing stuff in it. So hopefully he'll say yes to you, or allow us to build something for you.
Okay. So sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, no problems. Good luck. So down with the visualizations we do, and to go back, we have done a lot of custom data sets already for like quite a few of our customers, where they've asked for custom things, and they're really happy with what we've provided, which is is quite useful. And a lot of them that is based on a report, and then they get oh, there we go, Alison's just arrived. Thank goodness, up on the screen. So I never would have seen it. Hi, Alison.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's all right.
Problems. Can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay, we are recording, so you'll be able to watch from the beginning, but we haven't really gone far yet, so I think you'll be fine.
I'm safe.
Excellent. So some of the reports we've done custom, they ended up with the data sets as well. So they've been able to build reports from those data sets that we built to allow those reports to work. So just keep that in mind. So we had the fields with all the data in, and now we have the visualizations. And just so you know, Alison, this is the fields of all the tables that are in they're in the membership CRM, and some of the event ones as well. And in here is all the data that you can pull and drop onto the screen. We'll get into that a little while.
Matt, can I ask another question? So as far as the fields are concerned, is there is this like a what do you say, like an like whenever you created this data set, all the fields that are on the account are set as of that date time? Or as we add new fields onto the account, this will also reflect the new fields that are being added?
Yeah, it will reflect the new ones, but if there's a problem, just email support and just say there's a field missing, but it should come straight through. We found that some come through and some don't. We've contacted Microsoft and they're like, I'm like, really? That's it? Okay, great. But yeah, just contact us if there's a field missing. All we do is do a refresh in the data set itself, and it'll come through. But the data does get refreshed every night.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're in the process of building several additional fields because
Okay.
we're scoring our accounts, so all of those fields are new fields that are being added in the system, like right, as we speak even. So those kinds of things. So I just want to make sure that everything that we put in the system is queryable from a reporting standpoint, after the fact. So that's why I was asking that question.
Yep, absolutely. We just had that with IBA with their qualifying leads fields that they've just put in, and obviously in some others with the COVID stuff that's also gone into some others. So, but many of them have come straight through.
Got it. Okay.
Some of them need like little work to get the lookup fields to work with them properly. But again, that's just, you just put a case in and we'll get that for you.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. Keep them coming. Visualizations. Yes, the fun part. This is the part which is I love doing. Changes everything that's on the screen, changes data into beautiful visuals. It's just like Excel. If you feel like there's a visual missing, or you would like a different visual or another visual added, contact us and we'll see if there is a visual to go with what you need, because they have to be added, coded into it. But but pretty much everything you have there is the Power BI tools that comes with Power BI. Sometimes I try and sneak one or two in. We also have the values, which is it's kind of like it's your little box of data. So when you drag a field in, you drop it into the value section, and that will then display the data. And in this section is where you can tell it to, if it's a date, you can say, just show me the years, or just the months, or the whole date, or break the date out in a hierarchy, or if it's like total amount, you might want to turn around and say, can you sum this up for me so I can have the full dollar amount? But we'll go into that later. The roller, the painting roller here, is another fun place. This is where you can change the colors and the fonts, and it's where marketing goes crazy. You can do all the cool stuff. You can change the background of the page. Here I'm going to do it right now. Make it blue and change the transparency. That's kind of purpley, but that'll do. You can even add wallpaper in here. But this is where all the cool piece is done. You can change the name either by right-clicking or double-clicking on page 1, or you can type it in here. You can give it a name, like so, and it changes down here. Tooltips. You can turn it onto a tooltip, make it into a tooltip page. We'll get into tooltips later on. This is what I was talking about when we were talking about the view, where you can do fit to page, fit to width, actual size. You can actually change your type of screen size down here. I didn't really look much into this until I started seeing other organizations' reports that they'd done. And then it just blew my mind. I thought, oh my goodness, you can do so much with this. It goes into the whole philosophy of getting rid of PDFs. Where you have a nice A4 piece of paper with PDF size, and you have your reports on it. Well, obviously, if the screen's this size, you can't scroll down, but you want to fit all that data on one page. You don't want your board members or your staff to go clicking from tab to tab to try and remember what the story is about for this report. You can just change it and make it into a long page where they can scroll down and see different sections. So you can make it custom, letter, 4x3, 16x9, and tooltip, which we'll go into later. But I did a report just not so long ago for an organization who wanted to do a report for the CFO. And it ended up just being one long report because they kept saying, we just don't want to use tabs. He's not going to understand tabs. I was like, well, I hope he understands numbers. So... So there we go. And then the filters. This is where you can either filter by all pages, and all pages meaning all the tabs, by the page itself, or just by the entity that you've selected. This comes in handy if for one particular organization they were only interested in 3 types of benefits throughout the whole report. So they actually dropped the benefit table of field in for filters on all pages and just selected the 3 benefits that they cared about, and then they didn't have to worry about it again. So every page they dropped all their data and it was automatically filtered by those 3 benefit types. This comes in handy for events. When you do an event report, you might have your full report, all your pages for different types of pieces of your event, like registration, how many sessions you have, speakers, exhibitors, have them all across, but you can filter all the reports by one particular event if you wanted to. So for instance, we could have done the 2019 Fusion event, and then when 2021 comes up and we do the next one, we can just change it to 2021. Or we can say we could do file save as and save it as the Fusion 2021, copying all the report information and just changing the all page filters to 2021. Then we can switch between the 2. So all filters on all pages comes really in handy. Same with filters on the page. Also, it comes in handy for the MX viewing as well, for when you want to drop a report into your MX website. If you have MX, you can filter it by customer ID.
We don't have MX.
Oh, you should buy MX, because then you can.
I know.
With MX, you can actually drop the reports into your website.
It's a tough sell in our organization,
Oh, maybe I can do a demo, whatever. I must admit, it is good to be able to share a report with your board members and your committees without having to print out PDF, because whatever report you build in here can be shared in your website. Chemtrek, for instance, has a report that they have, which is really cool. They were able to get the embedded code from MX, which is secure, and actually dump it into their actual public-facing website. So all their customers, anyone who goes to their website can see the report. No license needed, and you can't steal the report. You can't right-click and do the embedded code. It will only work on the website that you whitelisted in the code. So it's pretty cool for that, but that's okay. You don't have it. It's fine. It's fine. Just going to save. Always remember to save. So I'm going to go and start off with doing. Let's put together your dues paid amount by year. Let's just start putting some data in, and I'll show you some sneaky things I like to do. Now I know that I'm interested in the renewals, so I'm just going to go straight into the renewal section down here, and you can expand your the table as much as you wish, so you can see everything written nicely. That's a real nice thing. Took forever to get it to work, but it's very nice to have. And we're going to go with dues paid. So luckily it is in alphabetical order. So we'll just go dues paid. Whenever I'm building any kind of data, I like to put into table view. And I also like to go into focus mode here. Therefore, it just brings it all out, puts it on its own page, and allows me just to concentrate on what I'm looking at here. So I'm just looking at dues paid amount, and I think I'm going to kind of categorize it by, I guess, date renewed. Let's do that. Let's just go with date renewed, because I want to show you how dates work. So now everything is broken down by the amounts. We do have some blanks in here, and we can get rid of the blanks if we want to. We could say I only care about, and here's our filter. So I've just opened up the filter, and I can say, right, dues paid amounts has to be greater than 0 for me to be interested in. in this report. Okay, and I also don't want any blanks, you know, because sometimes blanks come through. So I'm going to say is not blank. I don't care about quarters. I want to do this like in a graph. I only care about years and months. So I'm just going to go into the date renewed hierarchy. And I'm just going to say, get rid of the days, get rid of the quarters. Don't care about those. Be gone. And that's it. And now I'm going to say, right, now I get to pick my fun graph. Let's go with a bar chart. Oh, huge. There we go. So now we've got our graph. We've got our dates along the bottom. I personally like to have my data labels shown up so I can see them here. So we're in the, obviously we're in the rolling, the designing field now. I can go in here and say I would like, let's see, I want to have my data labels. Let's do dark green instead. Actually, it doesn't show up if it's inside, so we'll just go with something like that. Oh, we'll go back to gray. Seems like gray is the best thing for it. We'll go with that. We can go with our, we can have a background. We can change the title. But for now, I'm going to say pop this back into my chart. There it is. So yes, I would like to have a background color to it. I would like to have a border around it. And I'm just going to drop it here for now. So that will do for me for now for this particular section of my dashboard. I have my dues paid by amount by year. In fact, let's change that title and make it so it's a little bit clearer. So we'll just go into our title and we'll put it dark green. And maybe we'll put it to 10. We can, if we want to, get rid of this axes if you want to, because now we have all the labels on there. Let's save some space and get rid of the y-axis. There we go. Cool. So that's my first little graph. Now remember we put months in here as well. So apart from having years, we have months. If you see here, this has little arrows pointing down. We can actually drill further down if you want to and see how it is by month. But this is combining obviously the years together and showing like November 2014, 2015, 2016. It shows that, you know, every year added together, this is what it looks like. And we can also change that by saying, you know what, I would like the year to be a legend. So we go back to, you know, date renewed and we say, okay, legend. And we can ignore that. Ooh. Let's go to date hierarchy to break it down. It's automatically put it into years. And we do months. And now it's got months and it's even showing you each year how much it's taking up. So we can do that if you want. You can change the colors. Ooh. That's quite garish. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to put it back to being the way I wanted it to be. So I'm just going to go back to here, get rid of days, quarter, and just have month and year. Let's keep it like that. Now I'm going to show you a real cool tool that I really like. So we've got this nice graph, shows you exactly what's going on, shows you how 2020 is doing. It's a very thick graph, very easy to understand how each year is doing. I'm going to do something different. So I want to copy that information. So I'm just going to do Control C, Control V. Oh, where would we be without Control C and Control V? I tell you, it's the best tool ever. So this graph is going to have the same information, but we're going to display it a little bit different. It's going to tell us a little bit more. It's going to do some magic for us. I'm going to automatically change this now to a line chart. Okay, so there's our line chart. I'm going to also go in and show you this, because this is just showing up, the analytics tab with the magnifying glass looking at a graph. This is really nice. So what we do in here is we can start putting trend lines in. We can put minimum lines, maximum lines, average lines, median lines, percentage lines, constant lines, whatever you want, you can have it as long as it's a line. Or you can do forecast, which is fantastic. So now we can do a forecast. We can turn around, hold on. Let's just see what happened there. Oh, of course. Month, take that off. What happened? Oh, you know what? I was taking too long. Let's just do file save. I'm going to mark that down. I think your refresh isn't refreshing as constantly as it should be. Let me just write that up. This is why. Let me just. Microsoft has this thing where it has to refresh its license key every period of time. We extended it on ours. So I'm just going to make sure yours has been extended the correct amount of time. So I'm just going to go back in and edit the report. And I'm just going to go back into here. And I'm just going to put the values paid. Let's check what we have. Or it could be that I had a blank year in it. That could have been the one. Let's see. Year, date renewed. I didn't copy my other filter over. So let's say year is not blank. Yeah, I can see how that could make a problem with predictive analytics if you've got a blank year in there. Wait, why is it still having problems? Let's do, of course this have happened to me, I'm sorry. Let's see, date renewed by year. And we're going to go with, you know what, for this one, let's do how many people, well, yeah, we'll do dues amount. Let's not change anything. Come on, mouse, you can get it. Dues paid amount. Okay, and we're going to do, let's see, let's just do greater than 2014, just to be quick. We'll make it into line. We'll go back to forecast. And we're going to change this to forecast length. We can say how many years. So we'll just say years instead of months or quarters. So we'll do 2 years. We're going to say ignore, obviously, the last year. We're going to apply that. We're going to change our color. So we can have it dark blue. Line style, dashes. And I'm going to not do a fill. And then it starts giving you a more realistic kind of prediction. So now we have a predictive analytics going in. Huh?
So, well, that prediction doesn't look very good.
Well, it's going to take, well, the problem is it's taking this into consideration as well.
Okay.
So what we could do is, you know, you can play with your numbers. You can go in and say, you say, oh, look over there, everybody, all you execs. What's that over there? It looks like, oh no, that looks worse.
Still pointing the wrong way, unfortunately. But we're okay.
I know, right? Well, we'll see what we can do. We can see what we can do. So now we get our predictive analytics in there as well. Now, what's interesting with predictive analytics is that you will see how this will change when you look at different rates or different products that you sell, or like different types of memberships. Can you actually see which memberships are affecting you. So even though it looks like it's stagnant, or it could be a case that if you looked at one particular, say, benefit rate, you might see a reason why it's like that, and how you can make changes and try and get more members in a certain type under a certain rate, which will then change this predictive analytics. Now remember, it's all dynamic, so you can click around and start seeing how you can get that line to go up. So let me save. Again, we can make the title bigger and all the other stuff. So what else? Right, let's look at let's start looking more into this. Let's see, say when people renewed their memberships or joined. Let's look at original join date. Now, I'm not going to go hunting around for the field. I'm just going to type it in. Original join date. There it is. So we can get the original join date, and we can go with, like, I think it's account name. I have to try and remember what all the different.
It's current join date.
Huh?
Current join date.
Yeah, and then it's what? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said instead of original, I think it would be current join date.
Okay. Yes, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that. You're the boss.
No.
Well, yeah, of course you are. Current join date. We'll do that instead. And then let's do that by, we're going to use that number to go against our customer accounts. Again, I like to put it into a table and go into focus mode so I can actually see the data coming in. I don't care about the quarters. Or do I? No, not really. I don't care about quarters. I'll keep months again. And my customer account is going to be a conditional. We're going to do a distinct count for them. And I'm going to put that into an area chart. And now we get a good understanding of how, when people say, look, you have people start joining in 1920. Whoa.
Holy cow.
That's amazing. But you can also turn around and say, we'll ignore some of those dates, shall we? We can turn around and say, you can actually look at those accounts and find those people and change them, or do whatever you wish. Or we can turn around to our year and say let's say we only care if it's greater than say 1995 or something like that. I don't know if that's what if that works. And then you get this kind of graph instead. Again, these numbers don't look great. I'm sorry.
I was thinking that. So like, wow, am I going to be out of a job soon, or what are we doing?
No. This is potential. You see, the whole point about, I think this is one of the things that I always talk about is people think organizations are doing great or that you're on a good path, and then you start breaking it down, and then you're seeing the numbers for the first time, and you're thinking, oh,
right.
Okay, we need to make some changes. And that's the point. If everything was looking great, you wouldn't need this tool. You'd be like, oh, I don't need this. No. You don't need anything. I'm going to go to Hawaii. I'll see you later, everybody. But the point of these tools is that you turn. Well, no, we can't go anywhere.
Exactly. No vacation for you.
I'm going to the den for the first time this week.
Hey, so, Matt, I have a question. This does not seem like correct data, because we don't have fewer than 500 accounts for 2020. Is that what this thing is telling you?
Are you doing? Okay. Are we doing?
Is the customer account field not right? Should it be a different field, Duani?
Well, this isn't. No, this isn't. We're not. I'm not looking at. I'm not looking at customers. I'm looking at people who renew in the renewal field
okay.
Table, not the contact field.
No,
so these are people who have the current join date who also renew.
Oh, this is current join date of 2020. That's what this is, right? This is not date. Okay.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
That's why I was putting. Yeah. So this is all based on renewals at the moment. This is all we're looking at. So that you can like look at 2017, and that will show you out of the people who renewed in 2017, this was their current join dates. Okay. So that's why I was doing it by original join date to see when their original join date was compared to, because they did renew.
Right.
But this shows, and then again, if you go to 2019, you'll see, on this one, it will change again and so on and so forth, depending on what you are. And you have to wait for it to load, and then it changes for it. So, so next thing, and then of course you can also, like before, you can go and scroll down to months, so you can see when your most popular join month is. Wow, December and January. That's impressive. I guess that's because your cycle is that. Well,
yes,
way, it's great.
Yeah, we send out a renewal invoices in October, so November, December is the time when we get it back, usually.
Okay. Fantastic. It's working. So, let's go. Put it back to the years, and of course you can. And also we have this great options where you see the 3 dots. You can export the data into Excel. You can also with this with focus mode, you can turn around and say show us table, and you can see exactly how many are per year. So you start looking at the data as well and exporting it. So if you were to export this into a CSV file, what will come out of it is this table.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you can actually add people's names or account names to it, or copy it and add account names and export it in an Excel spreadsheet. Now in 365, we have an add-on feature where you can actually add a link and sorry, my son hurt himself. Where was I? Oh, yes. So in 365, we include links as well. So that if you click on the link of the person or the invoice, it will actually open up the window and take you directly to that data inside your CRM. Sorry, just letting you know.
Yep.
If you had MX, you had 365. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's do rates. Let's do our rates. Let's look at the breakdown of our rates and see how that works, and do a different graph for that. So I think it's rates. Yeah, there we go. So now we have our dues, eyewear dues, and your CBIA E2 dues and all that.
Yep.
We can look at that now and see exactly how much was what was, I guess, the total charge that went to those rates. So let's drop that in, and now you've got your numbers. And the graph that I like to use for things like rates or benefits or member types, I like to use this one, the funnel. It's a kind of a interesting graph. I'm not telling you which graphs to use. Just I like to show off some of the graphs that are there and how they can be used. So there's your funnel graph to show you how everything is. And of course, if you click on any of these, it will filter down everything that you see. Look at that. Oh, it's interesting. So now you're seeing what the impact is on different rates. You can also, I want to go back to that visualization interaction that I showed you earlier. this is a real cool little feature. If you turn this on, you can control how everything interacts by a certain filter or certain graph. So say you got this graph here where we click on the different fonts, if you click on the different graphs, bars, you can turn around to this and say, well, this is great, but I can just about see it. So what I can do is, instead of having it highlight, I can filter it. So now when I click on it, it's going to filter that graph instead. So now we're changing it. We may want to turn around and say, you know, this graph here, it may not make sense to change. So I'm going to put the none and put the stop sign in and say, don't be affected by this graph. I don't want people to click around on this and see this change and think that it actually means anything when it really doesn't. So I'm going to lock it down. So now you can control what the interaction's like for the user on this particular, on your report. Now, as we've got to this point in time, we can turn around and say, you know what, I want to see what this report would look like for everyone else who has access to this report. So now I can click on preview report, and it's going to show me. Are you playing hide and seek, guys? I found you. Yes, bye, bye, bye. Been here all day. I don't know why you wouldn't have found me. So here you. So here you can see, you can actually see what the report, you know, is starting to look like, and you can start making changes. Or you might want to contact marketing and say, hey, am I making this look good? Another thing is also to ask someone who this report isn't for and say, you know, do you understand what the storyline is for this report? And if they don't, add text in and start writing things in here if you want to. So you can actually go in and do that. We could make this graph smaller, and we could put a text box in and say, you know, the future plan is to get more. And you can change the font size, the color, and all that. It's a bit like, you know, it's a bit like PowerPoint and Excel. This whole tool, you know, it's lets you do all these things. And it's very good if you've got like say you have a directors meeting, you want to show your numbers. You could create a report mainly for your directors meeting and just show, you know, how all your numbers are doing, and, you know, put in your KPIs if you wanted to. Let's make this smaller, or let's make that go in, and we can put this in. What other key things? Oh, yes, of course. I want to show you another graph which is pretty good. Let's do date renewed. Date renewed. Let it think a while. Really putting it through its tracks today. Okay, so we've got date renewed. Again, I'm going to go into the chart. I'm going to go into focus mode. So I've got date renewed. With this one, I showed a little bit of this earlier. I'm just going to go with a month. I'm going to include the customer. Maybe it's going to. My computer's humming so much at the moment. Let's go with, let's make this bigger again. Customer account numbers. And I'm going to count them. And I do distinct count. Don't want to count too many. Don't want to count them more than once. And I'm going to do an area graph. And I want to compare it against, each year. So I have a nice yearly graph. And I'm going to show you, multiple area graphs, if it's going to remember what I wrote. You can do it. Come on. This is when I paused the video. Okay. Okay, date renewed. And we put it as a legend. And I don't want it to be the actual date itself. I want to break it down and put it into year, like so. And then I'm gonna, why has it gone so high up? Let's do date renewed. It's not blank. There we go. And now we have like a graph that shows what you already knew, which is your renewals. You know exactly what, and you can see through each year. And of course, you can change by year as well to see how you've done. This is another graphical kind of representation of your renewals. We can put a background on this. So right now we're coming up with a kind of a dashboard to show all the different kind of collective data around this particular story or meeting that I'm going to have with someone. The next thing I'm going to be interested to know is terminations. Like what's been going on with our terminations? So let's look at our termination dates. And we'll go in here and we'll do your we'll do customer accounts. We'll do a graph. We'll do this is not the legend. Let's drop that into values. We're going to do it by year. And let's change this graph. Let's do it so it's actually upright. And then we can change the color to the dramatic red. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Like, Kevin, that Matt, he shouldn't do them ever again, okay? So, I think my son just came in. He's hiding from his sister. So if you hear something, I apologize.
That's all right.
Right. So this is so, quarantine. So now we can do termination reason, because let's have a reason. I was very impressed that you had reason. That was really cool. So I'm like, well done. So we can do reasons, find out what their pitiful excuses are. And then we'll contact them and go, we don't believe you. That is not a good enough reason. We knew now. So again, we'll do a count on that. And we'll say, we don't care about reasons that are blank. So we'll just go in there and do advance is not blank, apply. That gets rid of the 7,000 that didn't bother to give a reason. Therefore, we won't bother to terminate you unless you give us one. And then we can do our graph a bit like so. Put that one there. And we can do our data color as well for this red. And now I want to show you something that's really, 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 really is really cool. Let me do the background color sign. So you know when it comes to things. Just do that right. Now, one of the things that I love. One of the things that can really annoy me is the tooltips. you know, when you hover your mouse over, you can turn tooltips on or off, but you're like, oh, 2020 counts 1,000. You're like, well, yeah, great. I could have, you know, I could have put the label on. So for like this one, it's like, oh, yeah, I could have guessed that because I can see that. We can make our own tooltips in Power BI, which is really cool. So for instance, we could go in here and say, right, this is a new page. Page information is going to be, let's call this termination tooltip. So I'm going to call it that. I'm going to turn it on as a tooltip. Page size, tooltip. See how it's now changed. And I'm going to put in termination reason. I'm going to put in here. And this is a good example of why you can put less graphs in if you want to tell a story, but still provide the information if it's needed. So here we're going to do account distinct, and we can make it into a donut. Guess we can make it into a donut. How come as soon as I did that, my kids started crying? It's like, Daddy failed. Put that back. Wait, what is it doing? Let's get rid of that. Let's try that again. Termination. Termination reason. And we're going to do customer account. Oh, okay. And we're going to say the termination reason advance is not blank. Huh, why is it not like that? Hold on. Oh my goodness, I am sorry. Why was I trying to put a list into a graph without summarizing it? Oh my goodness, that would have been like, and it's been a day, and now it stopped doing it. But just for times, let's see if we can fit this in or not. I think I prefer to put it into a pie. Oh no, it doesn't like it. It keeps forgetting that why does it keep not liking the graph and then forgets the graph? That is so weird. I have to look into that and see what's going on with that. I've never seen that before. Okay, termination reasons. I'm not going to be defeated. I might be defeated. Let's see. Let's just delete. But my goodness, I am going to do it. But I might just leave it as a list. And do a count. And let's just change this to be number of accounts. And you can rename all these labels. So if it's not what you want it to be, you can change it. And now we can go into the dashboard. And we can say, right, on this particular one, I would like the tooltip, instead of being where you hover on it and it tells you what it is, you know, kind of what you already know, you can go into the format tab and pop down to tooltip and say, instead of being the automatic one that you get by default, you can say, I would like the termination one that I just created. So now you hover over and it doesn't work. My goodness, why is that? I apologize. I have no idea why it's not working. That is very bizarre. on over. Huh. I have no idea why it's not working. Well, I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. If you clicked into it and like went into the focus mode, would it show you?
Oh yeah, certainly would. I'm just going to refresh. I think I may have just need refreshing. I know I've been doing quite a lot. Let's go to membership demo. Don't know if I saved it with it on it. No, I haven't done it. Right, okay. Yeah, I can show it on the one that I did earlier. When in doubt, go to the one you did already. So this one I'd already done. Or had I? No, I hadn't. Okay, so I'm going to do it on this one. Now it's been refreshed. I'm sure it's going to work. I'll go quickly, just do it. Tooltip, page information. We'll just call it tooltip for now. How quickly can Matt put this together? Turn this on. And that should be it. And I will do termination. Come on.
Does this slowness mean that we have a lot of data?
In short, yes. You do have a lot of data. But also, it could be down to my computer being really slow with Chrome at the moment, which is what it's. I've got a few Chrome. In fact, I'm going to shut my other Chrome windows down that you can't see. I've got like 5 things running in the background, which you should never do when you do a demo. Because I'm like building some other reports right now. So my fault. So let's just go in here and quickly edit the report. It should be. Yeah, see, a lot quicker. Oh, wrong one. Termination. List. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong thing, aren't I? Sorry. Move this page. So with the tooltips, when they work, you can put anything you want. So you can put like a pie graph that shows a certain data being spread out for certain for different categories or different reasons that helps explain what's going on. Because the worst thing to do is have a report and then people say, well, but can we drill further in? You know, like you can by clicking on the report itself and having another table that's reflected on what their data is showing. But it's even better to have a tooltip where you could go in and just hover over it and have the information showing to you right there on the actual screen itself. So I really think tooltips are a great asset to have when you're trying to get information on the screen for someone that will explain it to them, but also allows you to then give more information to that customer or that person to help them better understand without having to, come back and contact you and say, I don't quite understand. The worst thing you want to do is run out of space for graphs like we're doing now and having to, just pile it in and make the graph smaller and smaller. So let's go tooltip. Let's see if this works. There we go. Can't really see the number. I haven't actually done a good job in making it look good. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Bloody memory.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And I can get rid of blanks and you can put it in, and then, you know, so now you can hover over, and yeah, like you asked, you can, I'm in the wrong one. Let's that one a little bit higher up. Yeah, so when you go in here, you can, you know, you can put more data in it. So you can see exactly all, just like you could, for instance, for the dues, you could take this graph, copy it, pop on over, create another tooltip page. So let's just do tooltip rates. Turn tooltip on. Page size to tooltip. Copy that graph in. Pop on over to the dashboard. Go to this graph and say, I would like this to also have a tooltip.
Gotcha.
And it's a report page, and you say, right, I want the other one. And that's going to automatically filter on what I hover the mouse on.
Gotcha.
So then we could get rid of this graph. We can get rid of this graph now, you know, because we've got them. We've just added the graph within the other one. The other thing is, also, you don't want people to go, well, what on earth is this?
Now,
What's this
Matt,
tooltip thing? And what's this? Mm-hmm.
Does that reflect just for that column?
No, you can, hold on, let me just show you how you hide the pages. So now we're going preview mode, they won't see that. You can add the tooltip to the same tooltip to say this one if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
So,
but say, for example, you're hovering over the 2017 data, right? Or this 2016 data. Yeah. So now this is total charge by rate for just 2016, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's filtering.
It's filtering by, yeah. Okay.
By what you want, just like a normal tooltip does.
Just like
you know how you hover and it says.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. So I
what
can
we're doing.
Very powerful. Yes.
So you can now build a report and in your mind say, right, remember, I've got to build a report, a tooltip that has to change based on what I'm hovering over, which means you can, like I did here, you could build the graph here, make sure it works and it looks okay.
Right.
Right. And then just copy and paste it and then delete it. So we could actually go ahead and delete this graph if we want to, because now we have it here.
Exactly.
It's like,
oh, this is super powerful. I love it.
And then, of course, if I hit save and I go to preview, you now see that the tabs where it said tooltips have now gone.
Yeah.
So like a magician, you don't want people to know how you did it.
Very sneaky.
So now, oh, well, I should have saved it as well before I did that one. Oh, there it is. Cool. Yep. Sneaky. I guess I didn't get that one done. So yeah, that's everything. What else is there to show? Was there anything else you need to know? Oh, let me show you the demo one that I built and show kind of how I did a filter on this one. This one has a real cool filter that I did. So it's the same, it's the same kind of report. I kind of prepped myself up. But this one, I added this year filter. So all I did here was use a slicer. And what this is it's a slicer. Let me get rid of it. It's done by date renew year. So let's get date renew year. We do date renew. So this is how you put a filter on the report. Gotcha. Which you're controlling. Okay. So you pretty much turn around to the person who's viewing it and saying, click up these buttons, and see what, see what can be done. Oh, my memory on this machine. Probably working from home, you have to use the PC you have at home. Actually, I think I'm on my PC at work through the one at home. Oh. So anyway, grab your the date renews. So here's my list. And all I care about is year. So again, I'll get rid of everything else that I don't want. And this, I like everything to be filtered based on what I select in this slicer, okay? But this isn't a slicer. This is just a little list that I've created. And it's like, it's ugly. What's wrong? It's not a button. If you click on the slicer, I guess I didn't call it filter because too many other things are called filter. You can make it into something that can be dragged over, or you can type in the date. If it was an actual full date, you could type a date in there, which is really good for like registration. Or you can go in and drop on the little caret and say, I'd like it to be a list, and have it multi-select if you wanted to. Or you can say, I want it to be a drop down, saving space. You can say less than or equal to, so you can say greater than or equal to, you know, so it always goes up to 2020, right? Because that's the latest, and you can, you know, move it that way. Or you could do list, go to the wallpaper, go to I always remember how to do this. Go to general and change your orientation to horizontal, and now they're buttons. Gotcha. So now you have this list of buttons that you can now select from. And then again, like everything else on the screen, you can actually change what they can actually select. So you could turn around on this and say, I don't want to select a year unless it's greater than 2014, say. And I also don't want to show the blank. And now we have this button. And if you hit Control, you can actually select multiple 2 buttons. Yeah. And therefore it can start dictating what people should be doing, what they should be looking at. Which you know how we like to do that.
Yes.
So, and before I come to an end, I wanted to show you. Let's see if I can open this up. This was not planned, but I'm going to try and show you. Did you see my Fusion session that I did about?
I went to one of your sessions.
There's the one that I really like doing. I think really was useful. It was useful for me preparing for it because I was asked by colleagues to do it. I didn't come up with it myself to do it, so it was a bit of a shock. But I had a lot of fun putting it together, and I found that the story was quite an interesting one. So I'm going to show it to you if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all.
Now, so this one is actually inside. It's not in UX because they marketing went and deleted my CRM, but I still had the reports, thank goodness. So here's a good example of the Fusion dashboard that I came up with. So this is a good one to show, like, say you've got an event coming on, and this we actually used during Fusion because we didn't know what the impact was going to be on us for us going virtual. So for me, it was a great experience and a good opportunity to start collecting. And with this, I was able to say, right, I create my Fusion report. So I put the name of the event in here in a text in a card, and I put the start date here, and then I created my little graphs. So here's our KPI registrants, and our target was 333, and our maximum, well, our target, I guess it's not showing you what my target was, but our target was last year's target, and we went past it. And
so
then
I have a question for you, Matt.
Yep.
Where are the goals? Like, you know, we use the goals module for all the goals for particular categories for getting the, you know, the budget amounts for that particular category. And we track it week by week. So those were a couple things that I did not see was goals, and then weeks in the hierarchy I didn't see.
Okay. Were your goals, where are your, are they called goals?
Yep. So if you go into, yeah, but you're not going to see it over there because I didn't see that as an entity.
I'll have to look for them then and see why they're missing. Are they, what table are they in? Are they in all your tables?
You in CRM, I can show you where they are.
Okay.
So if you
not very good in CRM.
Yep. Go to is it under CRM? Try CRM, just CRM, and then goals.
Hold on, I've got to put my glasses on.
Oh.
Hold on. Actually, my son stole them. Okay, here they are, goals. Okay, and you got your goals metrics.
Not the goal metrics, just the goals. Yeah. And then if you if you go down that menu item here, and if you go to 2020 weekly dues.
2020 weekly dues. Let's see, 2020 weekly dues.
There, yep. And so see, that's where they are. And then I can show you the query. So like if you, you can double click into them and then see this is a whole module in CRM that I use for keeping track of where we are with collected amounts and actual, you know, target amounts versus, and so if you go to that roll up query field a little further down.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Right there.
This one?
Yeah, so if you click on that, then that'll show you the query that's used to accumulate these amounts.
Okay.
So it's collecting basically everything that's applied that fits, you know, membership, and then this is for new Health Connections members.
Right.
From renewal billing.
Okay.
So this was that report that I was telling you about, you know?
Yeah. Oh, so we could make, you could actually make this using the filters, I believe.
Yes, I can do that, but I don't know where to get the goal amounts, like the budget amounts for each week from.
Okay. Yeah, where are the budget?
So if you let's save and close on this one. So this is the actual amounts, right? These are the dues receipts. So if you hit save and close on this one, because this is the roll-up query.
Save. Save and close.
Yeah, save and close. And then so that here, see the actual right here, targets.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, and these have just been put in.
Right. So the from and the to dates are the weekly, you know, not weekly, but like start of, you know, 7/1 until that particular week we're targeting.
Yeah. Is it like year to date? So
year
it's like the start of
year to date, but weekly.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to manually put in the target into the KPI itself, which you can do. But yeah, you'd have to put the filtering together. I mean, this is something that it might be worth us doing for you and actually building the report for you, or try it yourself and then let us know.
I mean, I can get I mean, based on this training that you gave me, I'm able to put the actuals together, but it's just the budget amounts that I don't know how to for a particular time frame.
Because you're going to have, so you've got like, because you're going to be like this time, because you're like the month of January, February, March, it should be this is your target now, because it's going to increment as you go along.
Exactly. And then based
you're going to need a
date, based on today's date, it can tell you where you are. So it can identify the week that you're in, that matches this goal start and goal end date. And then for that category too, like see, 5 or 6 fields above where your cursor is, we have the primary category and the secondary category. So for that category, between this time frame, here's where we're supposed to be.
I have to talk to Manohar to find out where this is stored, if I can, because I'm sure I could grab it, but it does look like it would need a little bit of customization done in our typical normal setup. But it can be done. I mean, definitely can be done. It just needs a little bit more customization done on our end to make it work properly. But this would be a real good tool for that. But so we would, it might be worthwhile just getting us to build you the report to do it. And then we would then generate all the measures, all the data sets and everything all at once for you. And then you'll be able to use that same data set module to build other reports using that same kind of data.
And the only missing piece that I can see is this whole goals entity. And this is an entity that's right out of CRM. I mean, it's not a custom entity that we've built. This is just a CRM entity that we use.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So that means there has to be a goal table then.
Oh, there is a goal table. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, leave it with me. Let me do some research on that then.
Okay.
Because that might be something that I just add to the data set, and then I'll just push it out to you.
Okay. And then you have to show us how to associate like today's date or something like that for, what to show them for that week, like that.
Right. I can just put in a field that's got today's date. So I'll just do a get date.
Okay.
If this goal doesn't already have something in it, I'll just add if the goal table doesn't have today's date as a field in there, then I'll just pop it in there.
It does not have today's date.
Okay, then I'll just put it in there, because what's the point if it doesn't have today's date, right?
Right. And this is where I thought that I had shared with you the entire SQL report that I have to generate this kind of SRS report. Like I thought I shared with you the SQL query that generates this report out.
I'm sure you did, but I'm not allowed to do anything custom unless I've got, unless it's a project.
Yeah.
But so I have to be careful what I do.
Right.
But grabbing a goal table, I could hunt that down today and see if I can pop that in, and then I'll just upload it to you.
Gotcha.
Because you're the only person who's actually mentioned this goal table. No one else has kind of spoken about it, so.
Matt, this is a really cool tool. Like it just does for you. These goals are calculated automatically every time this due date is hit, and I don't have to worry about doing anything. So, this was the gold mine found for me.
Because I've got all these KPI reports that can be done based on it. So to me, it's like with this included, it's it's by far a gem for this kind of tool. I'm just pulling up my table documentation just to try and hunt down. So goals will be tied to invoices, or it includes.
The goals actually are not tied to anything, but they are used in conjunction with the goal metric. So let's see on the very right side of your screen, is the goal metric field, which says that what is the metric that's going to be used for this goal. So the metric is dues invoice payments, and that was that goal metrics area that we were looking at under the CRM menu.
Okay.
So that's the goal.
It looks to me like I have to do some digging around because I'm not seeing it. It could be just a query in itself, but it has to be a table to store that information in it because it's got to be pulled. So leave that with me and I'll work on trying to find the goals stuff because I'll have to give Manaha a call and have him teach me goals.
Yeah.
This is great. All right, well, I'll work on that.
Feel free to reach out because I know this module inside out.
Okay, well, you'll be the first to get it, so you'll be my tester.
Okay.
So back to kind of this showed me like where we were in the meeting that we had, and we were able to compare to the same year Fusion registration days out. This is where you would use your goals, where you would do the same thing, where you could show your goals here and see it growing and see if you're on target, and you would have your KPI, your overall KPI. So you could actually have a KPI measure to show where you are right now compared to your goals at this point in time. And you can actually down here over weeks out or so on, you could actually see where your goals were higher or lower than expected. So this was a good kind of indication of how our meeting was doing. And you could do this for like marketing as well. Remember to contact Kevin about marketing.
I will.
And then the difference between a dashboard and a report, I always think of a dashboard as being all the information to tell you a story of what's going on right now in that particular area. So for this, it's the meeting. Okay, it's not all our meetings. It's this meeting compared to the previous meeting that we had to see if we were on track. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A report is to show you what's going on. Like, where are we looking at improving? What could we do? So for this one, it's like, here's total registrants versus 2018. This shows you all of our events, all the registrations we've had in all of our other meetings and where it looks like it's heading in the direction with predictive analytics. This shows registration year over year and showing, and you're able to, color one particular chart graph to make it stand out. You can put a reason to this now. So we could actually put a text in here to say, in the year 2020 or whatever, we had, we went virtual. So this is why we had such a big impact. And we can actually document it here in the report. And we can actually see, this is our trees, this is the forest. So this is a great way to look at a forest to see how everything is blending. But if you want to look deep down, then you use the tree view. And then I've literally floated this graph on top of this graph to make it look a little prettier. And then you have like your typical drill down here, actually all the information that's needed. If you want to, in that particular meeting, you want to look at every single sessions that we use for all the meetings and have more of a detail to go over in them, therefore providing the person who's looking at the report with more information than they need. You can put that in there and also put a little thing in there to say best viewed in focus mode. And this is great for like a committee meeting, so this would be like for the, you could use this whole section for the meetings committee meeting where you can talk about how Fusion 2020 did compared to the previous year and what our goals are and how we're looking. So that's kind of like a good example of what a difference between a dashboard and a report is. I also did one for membership. Hopefully this is the right one. So membership did the same kind of thing, where I showed these are our membership goals, which obviously you can relate to. You look at the different rates that have been populated, divided by dues paid to dues not paid, renewals compared to new members versus non-members, and see how that affects everything. You can look at the number of membership by original join date. So there's your look. We also had people joining back in the old days, 1972 apparently, which is actually way off, because when I worked at the Society of Nuclear Medicine, we actually did have people who joined that early because the association was actually up and running in 1972. Wow. We just had a lot more because I think when people were joining in these days, it mainly was for a little newspaper that you got, like a flyer. And then, journals started coming out, and then meetings started coming out, and that, really changed everything. And then one of the cool things we have is like again, you've got your join dates broken down. One of the things that I actually did do for that I've done is I think I actually did a calculation where I've actually got the date of birth minus the date diff between the date of birth and today's date. So you can actually see what your average age is with all your members. So if you've got your birth date filled out, you can actually do a nice little pattern to see where everyone falls. So you can see when people are going to start dropping off from retirement into retirement. Not dropping off from retirement, that's morbid, but looking at retiring. And again, from this, so that was our kind of dashboard to see where everything is. And then this one is the understanding your member. So it's like a little report to show, again, there's our little line that goes on to tell us where everything's going. Here's the predictive analytics part and when people joined, and shows you the original join date over a year. So again, you can do a separate report that's got a lot more text in it, but break down numbers and just make things a little bit easier, like you would do in a PDF file. But again, it's dynamic, so you can actually see how things can be affected by one another on this data. So that's just a quick explanation of what I believe a dashboard that shows you how things are going right now, compared to an actual report where you're going to sit down and go over numbers and come up with KPIs. Like, for instance, in this report, if you have this up and running in your UX back office, you can actually go in and type in your new KPI numbers in and see how it affects all your graphs. So when people are saying, well, I do think if you put a little bit more into it, you could probably get 700 members joining this year. And you can say, well, okay, if I put 700 in here, we would seriously not be able to do it.
Right.
It's like our prediction says, that's a no way, Jose, is that going to happen?
Right.
But sure, we could do it. Or you could look at the numbers and go, look, it's more likely we're going to hit this number. So we can either aim a little bit high or aim a little bit low. But why not put a number in that you're more likely to get? And therefore, when the board looks at your prediction and say, hey, you did reach your target, then you can turn around and say, you know what, if we spent more money in this area and that area, look how, and you could click on it, you could see exactly how your predictive analytics will then change. And you can say, look how that affects. If we, increase this value of our renewals, or if we changed it and, included these other states, we would get, this many more members. Or if we change the age group down, or turn around and say, looking at our age group, in 3 years, our renewals are going to go down because the next generation are not joining. You know, you can see on the age scale and say, you know, our average member is 50, the 45s and the 35s are not joining. How can we change our marketing to aim for them? And maybe this year we concentrate on trying to get young members to join. And now you've had this, the whole thing has now changed how you market for the next year, for you to be able to reach better numbers. So that's it. That's what I have. That was my training. Anything else? I can send you some videos if you choose. But also, if you're finding anything missing, please submit a case. It'll come back to me, and I'll put them in, because there might be a field missing here or there might be something that I missed. Like you said, you've got new fields going in. Just submit a case, and we'll be on it for you.
Okay. I think we're good for now, because I don't have, unless Bishwa, you have any other questions.
I think I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Matt, I'm just going to show you what we have in terms of these engagement fee. Can I share my screen with you? I can, right?
I think so, yeah. I can stop sharing.
Okay, and I can start sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is the kind of so once again, this information comes from the goals. Okay. Yeah. Actually, not the collected amount, not the goals, but like this information, these budget amounts come from the goals, right? And then we have, so this, I know that we can easily do this from your training, and you already had shown something like this that you had done for the this is paid and unpaid. Okay.
Yeah.
So I already know that you did this. And then what we did over here is for everyone that's paid or everyone that's not paid, we have a bunch of information about them. You know, so these are the kinds of things that we track with regard to each company. And these are fields on the account level, but they come from different, like some are roll-up fields and some are calculated fields, and you know, things like that. And so this is the kind of information that we have on our companies, you know, for each and every member company as well as non-member company that participates. We have this kind of information. So my question to you is, you know, what would be the best way for us to show this kind of information? Do you still think that a tabular view, like how we're doing it right now, would be good for them, or do you suggest something else?
This is you're showing this to whom? Or is this just for internal?
Well, so this is primarily used by our membership sales director.
Okay.
Who uses this information for like retention purposes. So, you know, if he's reaching out to members who are not paid, then he'll go to the unpaid version of this same report, right? And then he'll look at, oh, look at this company, you know, they had 179 email clicks, but they're not paid. They've not paid their membership yet, or you know, whatever, something like that. Like he'll look at, you know, this company uses workers' comp and this company is not paid, or so, you know, he gets like an overall gist of the involvement of the company in terms of things that CBIA keeps track of.
Right. Yeah, no, let me load something up, because this is a great question, because it's, you know, obviously it's too much to look at. And usually when you go to a report, you have a, there's a solution that you want to get. So looking at a list full of people, you're not going to absorb that easily. This is something I've done for one particular customer. So let me see if you can stop sharing, and I'll share you mine.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if this works. So obviously it's got enter report title here. I told them, you guys, this is a good example of a CFO contacting his IT director and saying, I want the world. And the IT director going, oh, good heavens. I don't know how I'm going to do that. And it took some time for us to go back and forth to make this happen. And in fact, I have a lot of things hidden in here just to make it less confusing, because remember when I showed you the date slicer?
Yeah, slicer.
Where it said from this date, see how it's got this other date here?
Yes.
That was confusing him, so I had to keep hiding it. So it shows when you're clicking on it, but then it disappears.
Gotcha.
Because that was confusing the CFO. The CFO was very sensitive, shall we say. So he had a lot of stuff based on, he wanted to see where he could compare two dates. So we got total members from date A and total members from date B, and see exactly what's changed since then. So as you're sliding these numbers, these dates, I have a little check date here to say that, it's 772 days apart, where if you go down here, it goes red because it's like, you're minus 1,270. Your numbers are going to look pretty crappy because you're going the wrong way. So I put that in just because I thought special. But this is a great way where you can, this is the report that I talked to you about, how I changed the page size. So he could easily scroll down and see how everything is changed. So instead of having, what he did have was 4 pages of numbers and categories that he was going through. And then when we got this for him, he then turned around and said, oh, for the first time, I actually see what's going on and I can drill down. So now if he clicks on like connective, when you scroll down here, it's going to actually filter everything down to that particular information that he wanted. And it will scroll down even more, or filter down even more, to even the particular invoice for that particular person. So what we've done here is created that overview look and control that they want to, should we say, start the hunt down. So overall, they can see, obviously yours is different to this, your different categories, but you can see a more of an understanding of what you're seeing at once, and seeing any of the problem children that you need to go and take a look at and say, okay, we have a problem with education, and see how everything can then filter down all the way down to the particular group of people, to the particular individual themselves, like Adobe. And then here we even have a breakdown here to break down even more of the categories for him. And because you can do the export, you can even export this into a spreadsheet if he wants to, or if she wants to. So so that's how I would do it. I would take that data and break it in, ask them what are the steps that you do, and do a nice summary at the beginning, almost like, the summary, your workings out, and then the conclusion at the bottom. That way he or she, or the CFO, whoever, can get a good understanding at a glance. How are we looking right now? And then they can drill in and get that one piece of information that they want, instead of scrolling through lists and lists and lists to find the one that they really want to look at. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. So this, the connective and the renewal division is obviously on the renewal record, right?
Yes.
Because that's how you would, okay.
Yeah, this is so this one's all done by the renewal division. So that's like, I don't know, it's like their benefits or their renewal. It's really strange how they do their stuff, this company.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there was one, we did hit one point where he just said flat out, I don't know how, we need this, but I don't know how to do it. I've never been able to do this.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, that's great. You're getting your money's worth out of me. you're going to get, because it's like, don't worry. I said to him, don't worry. This is no longer your problem. This is my problem. I have to figure it out. And as we were doing it, we were finding a lot of mistakes that were being made. So particularly, they have, it's not showing up here, but they actually have to decide. So their members have to decide how much of their money is dedicated to division. So you can say, right, my full membership is education. However, I do a little bit of software. So I'd like to do education is what my default is, but 90% of my money, my membership goes to education, 10% goes to software. So I had to then figure out how to break that out for them.
Gotcha.
So here, this is what this is. So this is where I was able to then, for them, show them how the money is being distributed when it should be going to this division. So it's like, okay, this person is under government affairs. So Thomas Reuters, but they're paying, they might be paying a small amount to one area compared to another. For instance, here we go. Yeah. Adobe is paying 48,000 to anti-piracy, 4,400 to education, and the same to, oh, this one's an old one. I had education in this one twice. We fixed that. This is not the real one. The one they have is on the server. Yeah. But then they could then see along the bottom how much money was actually being distributed to each department, so that each department could then figure out how much money was coming in. So when they did their marketing, they could turn around and go, hey, don't forget, they're getting all the abstract marketing, but they know that particular person or that particular company is also interested in governance. So they also mail them governance information. Mm. So it was a very interesting graph, but it's coming up with it is the hard part is but the way I do it is I break it down by bit by bit. I mean, he had this down as 7 reports.
Gotcha.
And then as I was building it, I was like no, because even though you've now taken a list of all this data and you've now spread it across 7 tabs.
Right.
It might be easier to see on each tab, but you've still made it harder for him. And he did it. The CFO turned around and was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. And I was like, I know. I was like, so after talking to him, what I realized was that he just wanted the story to be laid out. He just wanted to start off and slowly work his way down and seeing the evidence of everything.
Right.
Saying, and then it's a case of gotcha. I found you. I found the problem.
All right.
And kept them all on one page.
Okay. I have another question for you. So these filters and these columns and stuff like that, I understand. Is Power BI able to create like virtual variables? Like if there's something that's not in the CRM system as a field itself, are we able to create a variable that's kind of like a hidden variable that's not really a variable at the account level? I mean, it's not an attribute at the account level, but it's still something that's derived from some other attribute that's at the account level. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. We have to do that for you. Unfortunately, we have to build those measures for you in those custom fields, which is what I did for this guy. I did them all for him. again, we have all the data. We know how the connections work. And again, it's taking the stress out of your life and just give it to us. We'll do it for you. It's part of the advantage of LX is that you can turn around to us and say, can you build us this report? And we'll make sure you get the right data. And I mean, with this one, he paid for his report to be built, but he really got his money's worth out of it, because I think I must have created probably 20 custom measures. I created a custom data set, and I built all these reports for him. And he just got to get on the phone to me and just say, yeah, I need this, this, and this, and this is how you do that, and good luck. And I was like, okay, it's all on me. But now he's got a CFO that's extremely happy and thinks this is the best report he's ever seen. And the IT director, he's getting all the praise for it. Good for him. But yeah, I mean, use us where you can. But yeah, we that's how it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Matt. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll reach out to you if I have further questions.
Oh, I know you're not. I know you're not shy. Of course, yes. Absolutely. That's what But no, I'm. Hopefully, you all got what you want. Remember to email Kevin. And yeah, okay. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you all.
Yes. All right, Matt. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe. Stay safe. Wear your masks, all that stuff.
Yep. Bye.
Cheerio. Bye. Bye.